Can I really change and transform my mindset? I've been thinking this way for so long. Isn't it fixed? The good news is your mindset's not fixed. And the better news is you can transform it. You can change it. We're going to talk about how I actually changed my mindset, what I did, what I was exposed to. We're going to talk about what mindset is. And we're going to talk about how you can transform your mindset. The first thing that I do when someone comes to me and says, hey, how do I change my mindset? Like how do I start thinking differently? Right? I ask them a few questions to gauge where they are on their journey. I ask them questions like, do you believe life happens to you or for you? Do you believe that life's already kind of laid out, like it's up to fate? I have no control over it. Do you believe that you can actually change the course of your life? Is that a belief that you have? Do you believe you are where you are in life right now because of decisions and choices you made in the past? So what are your answers to those questions? Contemplate those answers. And as we go through this presentation, think about that. Let's start with what the definition of mindset is, how I'm approaching mindset. Mindset's first, your default thought process. A person has a thought process they automatically go to. So if I said for you, for example, 85% of your fears never come true. What's your first thought? What was your first thought there? Was your first thought, woohoo, 85% of my fears never come true. I'm set, this is great. Or was it, what about the other 15%? The first one was the example of a more positive default mindset. The second one, a more negative default mindset. Neither one's necessarily incorrect, but we're gauging where we're starting from so that we know where we have to go. The second part of mindset is, mindset's the lens in which you look at life through. When I do my live presentations, I use something called Santa glasses. You can find them on Amazon. They're readily available. And I actually have Christmas lights set up in the event hall. And I have them look at those Christmas lights. And they're like, yeah, they're Christmas lights. What's the big deal? And I ask them if they see Santa. And they're like, no, I don't see Santa. And then I give them the glasses. I tell them, pick up the glasses that are at your seat, pick them up, put them on, and now look at the light. And all of a sudden, Santa appears. Now, yeah, it's an optical illusion because of the glasses, right? Like, we all know that. But the analogy there is, once you start looking through a different lens, you start seeing different things. So how can you change the lens that you're looking through? And that's why you landed here on this video, because you're looking to change the lens that you're looking at life through. So what's mindset made up of? Where do we get our mindset? How does it come about? Why do I have one mindset and my brother or my sister has a different mindset? Everybody's mindset comes from their experiences, their life experiences, how they grew up, what they read, what happened to them, the people you surround yourself with. The moment I started surrounding myself with different individuals, I started doing different things. As a kid growing up in New York City, my father would tell me, everybody's got a scam. Everybody's out to get you. If it's too good to be true, it is. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. And then I went from being a kid to being a police officer in the streets of New York. And I saw firsthand people being taken advantage of. I was called because people were being scammed. People were being robbed. People were being taken advantage of. And in that, I started to internalize that negative mindset. Oh, the world really is as bad as my father said it was. That people are out to get you. And then a key thing happened for me. I met a guy named Gino. And Gino turned into to be one of my mentors. And Gino was the nicest guy in the world. Like this guy, again, he would talk about how if you ever need any help, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. And he would give out his email. So I would send him an email. I'm going to check this guy out. I send him an email. He would get back to me. Whoa, did this guy really... he just gave me a resource? Hold on a second. And I would send him another email. And he'd get back to me. I was like, whoa, this seems a little bit strange. Nobody could be this nice. So I went down to Florida on vacation one year. And I looked him up. And I said, hey, let's go out to lunch. And he said, sure. And I was like absolutely amazed because back then I was a complete nobody. And he was a high net worth individual. But he was going to give me his time? Who is this guy? And sitting down, having lunch, he exposed me to Bruce Schneider's 7 Levels of Perception, which is one of the first steps I'm going to suggest you take later on when we get to the physical steps. But he exposed me to Bruce Schneider's 7 Levels of Perception and energy leadership. And when I read that and I internalized Bruce Schneider's 7 Levels, it transformed my life. Mindset was the one key I was missing. I was an individual. I was a police officer and a fireman. I dedicated my life. I laid my life on the front lines for others. And I did it willingly. And it was 2 of the best careers a person could have. But I still had the mindset that people were out to get you because I was living it. I was living robberies and shootings and murders and arson. I was living that firsthand. So I didn't know anything else. And then Gino exposed me to what I like to say is the finer qualities of life. That there really are people out there that are willing to help you. I joined Gino's Wheelbarrows of Profits, Jake and Gino, Wheelbarrow of Profits program, his real estate program. And that group of individuals were just so giving. You needed an insurance broker. You needed to learn how to figure out how to analyze a market. You needed someone to go over your underwriting. You needed help with something you got stuck on. All you had to do was send out a message, and people would step up and help you. It was something I never experienced before in my life. It was an amazing, amazing thing. And it's still going on to this day. It's an awesome group of individuals. Led by two amazing individuals, right? Jake and Gino. Jake's just as good as Gino. But Gino's the one that actually taught me the mindset. And when you're in that environment, when you're in that proximity, it's an amazing thing. So looking back, let's get to the real meat and potatoes here. Looking back, what would I tell my son, or better yet, my mother? Because when I'm dealing with a salesman, I'm like, would you sell this car to your mother? I look him right in the eyes. Would you sell this car to your mother? And then I watch his body language. And his body language will tell me everything I need to know. So this is some stuff that I would tell my mother. This is how you start. And the last tip, when I learned the last tip, when I was able to wrap my head around the last tip, because the last tip's a little bit advanced, but when I was able to wrap my head around that, oh man, I was like, wow, I can literally write my ticket. It's not fate. I get to write my own ticket. So here we go. First one we kind of covered already. Read Energy Leadership and internalize the 7 levels of perception. That's Bruce Schneider's book. The second thing, understand that human nature has a focus on the negative bias. It's a survival instinct. Our minds are meant to have a negative bias. It's there to keep us safe. We have about 60,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those thoughts are negative. 95% are repetitive. So know that our minds, our subconscious, is constantly on that wheel of negativity. We have to break that cycle. All change happens slowly. I want you to think about that, and I can prove it to you. If you eat a hamburger, one cheeseburger, do you immediately gain weight? If you eat a candy bar, do you gain weight? No. But if you keep that unhealthy habit over the course of time, that's compounding, by the way, you will gain weight. So it's that slow effect. You don't even realize it's happening. A lot of the negative that happens over the course of time. It's kind of like the story of, how do you cook a frog? If you take a frog and you drop him in boiling water, they say he bounces right out. Now, I don't know. I've never actually tried this, but this is the story I read. You take a frog, you throw him in a pot of water, he bounces right out. But if you take that frog and you put him in nice warm water and you make him feel all happy, and then you slowly turn the heat up, the frog boils. So what that's a representation of is, if you automatically try and make change overnight, split second, your spidey senses say, whoa, this is uncomfortable, I don't like the direction you're going in, and your subconscious will actually go to what you believe in, what your beliefs are, and reset yourself back to, whoa, you don't belong improving your mindset. You believe in mindset is fate. Life is fate. That's what you believe in. So we have to change very slowly. So take action, learn the 7 levels of perception, internalize that, realize that you're acting from victim or conflict. I was a big, when I was back then, I was big out of conflict. Everything I reacted to, I was reacting, I wasn't responding. It was out of conflict. It was out of victim. It wasn't out of concern or responsibility. So as I learn these things, I can slowly do it and slip one past the goalie being the subconscious. If I make slow, methodical, intentional change, my subconscious doesn't feel uncomfortable. And when he doesn't feel uncomfortable, he allows that change to take place. Number 4, there are good things that come from the messes in our lives, and you're not going to be able to connect those dots. This is something that you just have to believe, and you have to think about past experiences. There are good things that come out of the mess in our lives. The death of loved ones, the failed business, the relationship breakup, the divorce, whatever it may be, I lost my job, I got fired today. There is something good that can come out of that. Whenever the forest, the way the forest rebirths itself is it has to burn the forest down first. It burns the forest down, and then there's regrowth that takes place. You have to find the good in that. Think about something that happened in the past and then connect those dots. Steve Jobs says we can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect the dots looking backwards. Give those experiences good intention. give those experiences a meaning to you that's going to pull you forward. I'll give you a quick example. My mother was alive March 17th. March 17th is a big day for us. We're Irish. We do the corned beef. The whole family comes together. Irish soda bread. It's just a good time. It's a good family day. She was alive March 17th. The end of March, she was dead. And you're like, whoa, how do you take something out of that? Well, in that story, my mother came down with leukemia, and she was like, she went off the hill really quick. But she taught me courage, and she taught me bravery. And that courage and that bravery was, she said, I lived my life. I just want to go. I have no regrets. I have a great family. I lived my life. I just want to go. I don't want to go through the pain and the fight of chemo and everything else. I'm 85 years old. It's my time, and I'm okay with that. That's pretty insightful. I hope and pray that I can have that same attitude when I get to the end of my life. Because I want to live to be 150. There's so much I have to do in life. So in that turmoil, in that grief, in between the tears that I was feeling, that was what I took out of that. I took a bit of courage out of that. And number five is the last thing I would tell them to get started. And it's, you are where you are because of the decisions you made in the past. This is a big one. This is the last one. This is the one that's going to make your head explode when you can wrap your head around it. When I first started out, I would not be able to wrap my head around this. So if you're first starting out, you may not get this, but let me plant the seed in your mind. And if you're a little bit on your journey, really think about this. Think about, you are exactly where you are right now in life because of the decisions you made in the past. And as a quick example, you're sitting here watching this video because in the past, you decided to click on the thumbnail. And the past of that, you decided to open up YouTube. Because you made those decisions, you ended up here in the present. So, if your past decisions allowed you to end up here right now in the present, then you're physically, in this very second, living your future's past. And if the decisions you made in the past put you here, then what decisions will you make right now in the present so that you end up in the future that you want? If you're like me and you realize that you aren't where you want to be in life, that you believe there's more out there for you in life, then embody that. Because you could physically, right this second, write your script for the future. I'll leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein, one of my favorite quotes. You can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So I'll challenge you to this. How will you begin to change your thinking right now in order to change your life? Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there today and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you guys. Have a very blessed day.